Hello, this is How To Bob, and in this video I'm going to take apart and repair a through-the-wall air conditioner. The very first and most important step is to unplug the unit before we disassemble it. Okay, now that we have the power removed, we can go ahead and start taking this unit apart. We're going to start with the screw in the very top, and it's just a standard Phillips screw. Then we're going to go around to the right-hand side and remove all the screws along the bottom part of the unit. Once we get all these screws out, we can go ahead and take the screws out on the opposite side of the unit, starting with the center one, and then there'll be several screws along the bottom of this side also. Now the next step after this, we're going to open the front cover where there will be one screw right below the control panel that'll need to be removed so we can take the front panel off as well. Once we get this screw out, there are 4 clips. One located right here, you just simply pull those out gently. One on the opposite side, pull that out gently. And then there's 2 at the very top, and I'll show you once we get the front cover off what they look like. There's one on each side at the top. And now we have the top off, I'll show you. There's one here, and then we have the same thing on the other side. So now that we've got the top off, you can see where the clips go. Now we're going to go around the back of the unit, and we're going to lift the cover off slightly and pull the guard off the back and just let that lay down. That'll come right off very easily, and then we can take the cover and lift it straight up, and it comes off very, very easily. The AC unit apart, we can do a small inspection, and we see the problem here is a wire that was burnt near the capacitor. So I'm going to go ahead and replace the capacitor. You can see where the wire was burnt, and what I'll do is cut some of the wire back till I get to the good part of the wire and rewire the capacitor so that I have a new capacitor and fresh wiring for the unit. I'll check the specifications on my capacitor here and go out and get a new one, and you can see where the wires have melted, and you want to remember where these wires go so that you can replace them exactly where you took them from. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the capacitor now by just loosening this screw that's holding the strap. Once I get the capacitor loose, I can go ahead and remove the wires from the capacitor, and again, remember where the wires went because it's critical that they go back in the same location on the new capacitor. Once I get the wires removed from the capacitor, I can go ahead and push it up and remove the capacitor from the unit, and you can see that it's pretty much burned up, so we're going to go ahead and just replace it. It's not that large of an expense to replace the capacitor, and you can see here the markings on the capacitor you want to line up so that you hook the wires up the same way. Now you can see the wire is burnt here, so what I'm going to do is cut it back far enough so that I have good wire. Once I get it cut, all I need to do is strip the wire, and I'm going to go ahead and replace the connector. Found it easier to twist the wires, keep them neat, makes it easier to push them into the connector. And as I'm putting the connector on, I'm going to turn it in the same direction that I twisted the wires. That just makes them lay in the connector a whole lot easier, and it makes it neater. Now all that's left to do is to crimp the connector onto the wire, and I want to make sure I get a good solid crimp. It looks like this one's in good shape, so I will go ahead and do the next wire that's burnt. I'm going to cut it back just slightly and follow the same process by stripping the wire down and then putting on a new connector. And on this next one, it looks like the connector was the only thing that was burnt, so I can just cut that off there and strip the wire and put a new connector on the end of it. Okay, now that I have all new connectors and I've cut off the bad burnt wire, I can go ahead and reinstall my capacitor. So I'm just going to put the capacitor into place here, and then I'll put the screw on the strap that holds it into place. I'll make sure it's got enough room at the top so that the wires will reach it, and just tighten down the strap. Now that the capacitor is mounted, I can go ahead and hook up my wires, and I want to make sure that all the wires are hooked up the exact same way as they were on the old capacitor. This is critical to make sure that the air conditioner will work. So pay close attention. It's not a bad idea to take a picture of the old capacitor before removing it. Make sure we get a good connection on all the wires. And this is what it's going to look like when it's done. Now we can go ahead and put the cover back on the AC unit. And we're going to start putting the screws in on the right side. Once I get all these screws in, I'll go around to the left side of the unit and put all the screws in the left side. Next step is to put the front cover back on the air conditioner. And I'm going to start off with the tabs once again. Snap the tabs in place, gently push, and they will snap into place. Then I'm going to open up the front access panel so that I can put the last screw in the front of the AC unit. Now that that's done, the only thing left is the cage in the back, and that just snaps right into place. Now I have a perfectly good working wall air conditioner unit. This is How To Bob. Thanks for watching.